Captain Kumar will come to know now what is the question. If that question has already been asked, then they will not allow him.
Understood.
I just want to check up. I'll be able to share the screen. Yeah, I can see that. I think I'm co-host. So
Yes,
should be all right. Yes. Okay.
All the panelists and speaker are co-host.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Simon sir, good evening.
Hi, Simon. How are you?
All well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. Not bad. Yes, good.
Okay,
Hi, Simon. How are you?
I'm here only to just see the faces, Of course, listen to the talk. Definitely.
India has a proud maritime history. Indian seafarers account for about 10% of the global maritime workforce. There are about 150 maritime training institutions in the country, and more than 3,000 maritime faculties engaged with these institutions to train and groom the students to make a seafaring career. The faculties who are seafarers do not have formal teaching background, and need guidance and mentor to groom them. A professional body was needed to share and enhance the skills of the teachers. Maritime Trainers Guild was the first and the only professional body in the country, which is congregation of maritime professionals focused on training and development issues related to seafarers. With an active president at the helm, and the group consisting of founder members and mentors, play an active role in addressing various training-related issues. Maritime Trainers Guild has conducted various seminars, workshops, meetings, to brainstorm and bring innovative and programmatic solutions to enhance the maritime training.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to join all of you this morning on web seminar.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I think it's a very good initiative that MTG has taken. It is
Without any commercial interest, the knowledge, innovative ideas, and the collective wisdom of all the members is transferred to the ever-evolving maritime industry through seminars, webinars and various training programs. Taking cognizance of the pandemic, and in line with International Maritime Organization's vision of e-learning, MTG has conducted two pilot training programs, a basic course for the learners, and an advanced course for the faculties to enhance the teaching skills of the maritime fraternity. Sharing of knowledge to create wiser people has been the intention of every great civilization. MTG has been doing this for the past 10 years. MTG was founded on 4th of August 2011, and thence grew in numbers, reputation, and popularity, and today stands amongst the respected professional forums.
Namaste Gurujans and my dear friends.
MTG celebrated its 10th anniversary Foundation Day on 8th of August 2021, with an overwhelming participation of its members and industry leaders. To motivate and honor the faculty, Best Faculty Award was instituted, and the deserving faculty felicitated during the event. MTG is here to celebrate the launch day anniversary. There is but one wealth, which grows by sharing knowledge.
Good evening, everyone. Vanakkam, like they say, Sat Sri Akal, Salam Alaikum. And if I have missed any language over here, maybe in Spanish or Greek, maybe I can do that as well. And yes, welcome to the launch day panel discussion of the Maritime Trainers Guild, titled Online Training and Assessment and Introspection. Friends, I am Captain Kamal Chadda, General Secretary cum Treasurer of MTG, and it is my pleasure and honor to host this online discussion today. A few instructions. Please keep your microphones muted so that everything works seamlessly and smoothly. And your videos in the off position will be better if you are not a presenter, so that it makes your reception so much better. First, a few words about MTG. MTG was formally launched by the Director General of Shipping, Mr. Amitabh Kumar IRS, on the 23rd of February 2019. That makes today our third launch day. Or is it fourth? I think it's fourth. Sorry. The MTG mission is towards excellence in maritime training. Our vision is to create a world-class association of maritime teaching facilitators who will set benchmarks for furthering maritime training internationally and be recognized as a forum of knowledge and skill enhancement by global organizations such as IMO and the various maritime stakeholders. Our acknowledgement of all the eminent persons who have been part of MTG right from the beginning. We have our office bearers, Captain Prabhat Nigam, who is the president of MTG, founder president, may I add. Dr. Surinder Kumar, vice president, Captain Sandeep Shivangi, joint secretary, and myself, general secretary cum treasurer. We have cardinal heads, and the cardinal heads are Mr. Sanjeev Vakil for Sanjeev Vakil for South India, Captain Nalin Pandey for East India, Captain S. Varshne for the North, and Captain A. Apankar for West India. The steering committee members are Mr. S.M. Rai and Captain S.M. Halbe. I just realized they share the same initials. MTG is blessed by 9 eminent mentors, namely Captain Naveen Passy, Captain Rajesh Tandon, Captain L.K. Panda, Captain S.M. Halbe, Captain K.D. Behel, Dr. Captain Suresh Bhardwaj, Dr. B.K. Saxena, Mr. Ajoy Chatterjee, and Captain M.M. Sagi. Friends, without further formality, we'd like to begin. Our first keynote speaker is Captain Ashok Mahapatra, and I will introduce him. Captain Mahapatra is retired Director, Maritime Safety Division, International Maritime Organization, and presently the Chief Executive Officer of UA Consulting Private Limited. Ashok Mahapatra joined Sindhya Steam Navigation as a cadet in 1973 and rose to the rank of Chief Officer in 1977. He became a master with South India Shipping Corporation in 1982. Captain Mahapatra joined as a nautical surveyor with Government of India and was promoted as Deputy Nautical Advisor to the Government of India in 1994. He joined IMO's STCW and Human Element Section as Technical Officer in 1998. In 2003, he took over as the Head of Maritime Training and Human Element Section in the Maritime Safety Division. He was appointed Senior Deputy Director, Subdivision for Operational Safety and Human Element in the Maritime Safety Division in 2012. On 1st October 2015, he took over as the Director, Maritime Safety Division, and he retired from IMO on 31st December 2017. Starting thereafter his own company, UA Consultancy, on the 1st of January 2018. His company has been providing advice to various governments and international organizations. In addition, he was elected to the Board of Directors of QACE in 2019 and since June 2021 has been the chairman of the board. I'm sure it's well known, but I will say it once again. Captain Mahapatra has delved in movie making, and I was hoping to get a role, but he hasn't offered me any. Captain Mahapatra, after this brilliant introduction, please remember that I may be able to contribute in some way. Thank you, friends. Captain Mahapatra, the microphone is yours, please. Sir, you need to unmute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Captain Chadha. Yeah, it's nice to, before I start on a slightly lighter note, your contribution towards my filmmaking would be welcome, particularly in the financial sector. That's besides the joke. Friends, colleagues, it's indeed a pleasure to speak to all of you all, particularly on a subject which is very close to my heart. I mean, we are talking of online learning, assessment, skill development today in a long. But believe me, I started this process in IMO as early as in 2008 when I was convention. But you know, you'll be surprised the biggest pushback that came to me from, and why I'm going to share this so that you can understand where you have reached today. Means the biggest pushback came from the developed countries. To be honest, when I wanted to put down in the convention requirements. And believe me, you will find it hard to believe the biggest pushback from there came actually from the trainers, not from the administrators. you have to understand that most of the developed world, the trainers were actually the ones which are keeping their maritime traditions alive by having overseas candidates come in and contribute towards their economy, plus their maritime certificate of competency and things like that. So over the period of time, when I started talking to them, and I realized that there was an inherent fear within them. The inherent fear was primarily on what happens if it goes online. You know, the fear of the unknown is always there. But then there is an equally old Hindi saying in our side, Jo dar gaya, wo mar gaya. So then I tried with a lot of difficult conversations with primarily the administrations and the trainers from Western Europe as to why we should get this in. So whether we like it or not, this is something which has to come in the future. Because at that time, I was seeing the institutions like Harvard, Georgia Tech, Yale, UCLA, Oxford, Cambridge, London University, all moving towards this online system. And there was a slight metamorphosis of the teacher-student relationship. The metamorphosis today, it changes from a typical student-teacher relationship to a mentor-mentee. Now here today, I will just divulge a little bit. Here when we talk today in India, particularly when we talk of mentor-mentee, we are not talking of each and every teacher being a mentor to a student. We are talking of somebody taking on one person on a one-to-one basis and being a mentor. But there the metamorphosis was moving towards in the larger and established universities, where for every subject, the teacher became a mentor and the student became a mentee. Because today, if you look at it, all the material is available online. And once it is available online, you have to realize that the traditional system of chalk and talk does not work, because the student has already the material which you are going to give in front of him. So where you require your system to work is that your responsibility is to ensure that the person reading it or your mentee is able to channel that information that you have got online in the right direction and make him fit for purpose. And that is the critical part of it. And that is where we need to be careful and we should progress towards it. And in all cases today, you have to start looking at the entire online system as a mentor-mentee transcription rather than a teacher-student. Now, having said that, at that time, what we are today looking at, one of the good things about pandemic is that this has enhanced the process forward. Is what happens, how is it beneficial to everybody? From let me start with the person at the lowest rung, is the mentee itself. The student, I will call him mentee from now on. he or she is able to spend quite a lot of time during his term on board or whenever he is, to grasp all the things. And then he comes back to the mentor online and asks the questions, and the mentor, that means it becomes a one-to-one rather than a classroom atmosphere. So you are giving individual attention. The second aspect of it, he or she does not have to come down and spend 4 months or 5 months or 6 months ashore. There are things which you need to come onto a shore-based institution for practical learning, and that 4 months could come down, at my estimate, when I have looked at it, from 4 months to between 4 to 6 weeks. That means he saves about at least 2.5 months, if not more, of his leave, which he can reduce his cost. Now, coming to the training institution, the training institution then has the flexibility of reducing its infrastructure costs. You don't require that many classrooms which have to run simultaneously. And also, since quite a lot of it will be running online, you have got a much better set of happier trainers who don't have to commute and come, but can be done from the house itself or whatever place it is. Now, from the ship owner's point of view, it becomes that instead of 9 months or 10 months, a candidate comes down for his examination. The turnaround is he's able to appear for his examination, say, at half the time, if not less. So that means you have a faster turnaround of your students, of your candidates coming. So if you look at it, this is a win-win situation for everybody. And this, I mean, the pandemic was bad, but this is one thing which forced us to do it. I mean, one thing we have to understand, that the only thing that is constant in this world, in this universe, is change. And it's also a fact that human beings does not like change. They do not like to be taken out of their comfort. But this is the only good thing that the pandemic has done. It has forced the trainers and the administrators and everybody to move out of their comfort zone and go beyond it and look into the solutions, because otherwise there was no other solution. Having said that, means it's very nice, and this training guild is something which I also have been teaching for assessment, examination, and certification, where we teach this trainer to how, on the basic new pedagogy, to impart training to their trainees. What I want to say to the trainers is, or the mentors, is that just because you have been giving one set of lectures or guidelines or training, it does not mean that is the beginning and end, because each mentee is special. Each one has to be dealt in a different manner. Each classroom is different. You have to adapt and change according to that. And remember one thing, that especially in online, which it holds good even for classroom, you have to deal with the person who is the weakest. It doesn't matter if there are 10 who are above and who understand. You have to have the patience to address the shortcomings of the youngest. That is where you as a trainer will excel. You have to address the weakest link. And what we say, the chain is as strong as its weakest link. So if every link is strong, then you as a trainer have got it. And this is indeed very nice that the Trainers Guild has been formed. My biggest request to all of you all is that you should get together as a part of peer review, no criticism, but learn from one another, because I may be doing something correct. Somebody else may be doing the same thing better. And I should be mature enough to accept that his methodology is better. With that, means I am glad that you have formed this guild. I did not know very much about this guild. Would like to be associated, help out in whichever manner that you all want, would like. But all the best. It's nice to see the forum coming together. I wish you all the success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain Mahapatra, for throwing light on the difficulties and the new path that we should be treading in the mentor-mentee relationship, and how we can improve ourselves. I think that's an ongoing process, and all our members will be very happy to do what they can to make things better. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate your being here with us. We are looking at 195 participants at this moment. We should be touching 200 shortly, which is, I think, quite a decent number on a working day, right in the middle of the week. So I should congratulate the organizers for having put things together so well and made this program attractive to so many people. We have our second keynote speaker, Dr. Brijendra K. Saxena, who is the now retired founder principal of the Tulani Maritime Institute, Talegaon, Maharashtra. Dr. Saxena is also the past president of IMEI. He is the chairman of the Research and Training Committee of INSA, and also the chairman of the Narottam Moraji Institute of Shipping. Dr. Saxena is a graduate of the World Maritime University, Sweden, and has also taught there. He has a master's from BITS Pilani, and qualifications in chartering, insurance law, and financial management, including a PhD. He has also recently, after retiring, completed a PGD, which is a postgraduate diploma in international maritime law from the World Maritime University. Dr. Saxena has published many papers and is a guide for PhD scholars. He was conferred with an award for outstanding contribution to MET by the government of India. That's a very, very brief introduction to Dr. Saxena. But let me tell you additionally that he is the nicest person I have met, in my life, and so courteous and so genuine. I think the courteous and genuine combination usually is very, very hard to find. But this is my endorsement of Dr. Saxena, but we haven't got the same endorsement from his good lady. That we will check later. There might be some gaps over here. So, Dr. Saxena, with that introduction, I'd like to welcome you to MTG's online panel discussion and your keynote address, please.
Thank you, Kamal, and greetings everyone. And indeed, I'm grateful to MTG for giving me this opportunity to talk about online education, which has been my passion for many, many decades now. Okay, I'm just sharing the screen. I I hope my screen is visible. Yes, I can see it myself. I'm sure it is to the others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah, very good, very good, very good. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to talk on online education and assessment. Because in my opinion, training is a subset of the whole education, and especially in our case, when most of us who are in the pre-C institutes, our work is a lot with respect to education rather than just hardcore training. Okay, of course, whatever I speak will also be applicable for the training. Okay, so let's quickly see a model. How does the whole mechanism of education works? Okay, so that is what I'm going to show with this screen. There are few requirements what must be there. One is obviously the teachers. Okay. Second is course design. How is the course structured? Okay. How are the different processes? When I say course design, starts from the curriculum right up to the assessment. Now, in curriculum itself, there is a big issue or big gap related to the interpretation of what is given in the original syllabus. Okay, and a lot is left to people who are really doing it. In my opinion, the correct way to go about this is to break the syllabus or the curriculum into the general learning objectives and specific learning objectives. I spent 20 years in the Tolani Maritime Institute setting up, so whatever systems are there, I can take credit or discredit for that. I had a mechanism there where all these were made for each and every subject. It was given, the document was given to the students, and it became a contract between the teacher and a student. Okay. All right. So it became a contract between the two of them, and a student could raise his hand and say, "Sir, you have not covered so and so point." Okay. So that's very important, how the course is designed and, of course, conducted right up to the assessment. I'll talk about the assessment in a few minutes. Next is prompt feedback. See, unfortunately, as soon as we hear feedback, we talk of students' feedback. I'm not talking about that at all. I am talking that, and something which Captain Mahapatra was also referring, that there has to be a dialogue. The teachers must have a feel as to what is happening and continuously give a feedback to the students with respect to his performance, his behavior, whatever it is. You see. So here the feedback I'm talking of is, again, to learn from various things which are happening, including the assessment, including the examination results. I have always believed that examinations is a very big teaching tool. One can learn a lot from the examinations and the results if it is analyzed, if it is not just कि भाई ये pass हो गया, ये fail हो गया, इतना % हो गया. No, it has to be much more than that. Okay. Students' expectation is a very important thing, because each student has his or her expectations. Okay. Expectations may be placement, maybe he wants to get first division, maybe he wants to enjoy his life when he is in the institute, or maybe he wants to play football. Okay. So what are his or her expectations? Because unless we know that and we address them, the whole mechanism is not going to work. Okay. And then, of course, the infrastructural aspects and leadership and the management, I'm not touching on that. Based on all this, the student's satisfaction in the institute will happen. If any of these is not right, he is not going to be or she is not going to be satisfied. And if they are not satisfied, the performance will go down. And when I say performance, again, I am not meaning only the marks or what I'm talking of an overall development. Okay. So performance, including the confidence level, including the behavior, including the OLQ, and of course, everything together. And if this goes up, the institute is a success. Very simple. Okay. So this is the model. Okay. Now we will have to see that how this model works in the online situation. My expectation are that whatever I discuss will probably have a few issues which in the panel discussions will come out. Okay. Some of the salient features, availability of the required technology, which has been there. So I'm not touching on that. I'm not even talking about, the connectivity issues and all that. Okay. The commitment of teachers, students, and they receiving familiarization about using this technology. Okay. Because the teachers have to be committed, and their commitment would be different for the face-to-face education and the online situation. Things are different. Okay. That has to be addressed. The processes for all this has to be in place, and management of change. Captain Mahapatra also said that unless we address the management of change, it is not going to work on that. Okay. So I just leave it like this. Let's go further. Now, I did quite a lot of literature survey when I was told that you have to give a talk. So I did a lot of literature survey as to what is happening. It's been almost 2 years now when we've all gone for online education in the country and of course in the world also. So there are numerous numbers of studies, numerous number of papers which are there. So I went through many of them very, very deeply, and I found one study which is somehow little closer to what we do in our maritime sector. Okay. There are no papers available on maritime sector. Okay. But this was a paper where the students were from the engineering side, Indian paper, cross-section of the country, pan-India. Okay. So more or less, and the population size was reasonable. Okay. Now, if you see here, I've selected only some of them. Familiarization with the online platform is reasonably good. So their students are quite tech savvy, so that's not a problem. They prefer morning sessions. Okay. This is an important part. 72% of the respondents said that we don't ask questions. We are not curious when the online education is going on. In other words, there is a disconnect. Okay. Completely not satisfied with the online class. Huge. And I am probably one of the few people in this gathering who has also been a student, as Captain Chadda said. In these 2 years, I finished a 1.5 year, a very, very intensive program. I spent quite a lot of money, lakhs of money for that fees. I was hoping, my expectations were something very big. I was hoping to have face-to-face dialogue with famous lawyers in London, and also talk with the other students. And I being the only student in that course from India, there were about 30, but eventually 20 survived. But whole lot of contact classes were washed out. There was only online thing, and in the end, I feel sort of cheated that I have spent so much of money. And I felt pity on some other students who were not as probably experienced as me. So I, on my own, conducted few discussion sessions with some other students from Nigeria, from Oman, one Indian master mariner from Dubai. So this is something to be really taken note of. Okay. 86% said we don't want online classes. Mind you, we are talking of undergraduate fellows. The situation would be different for postgraduates and advanced levels. Okay. And they acknowledge that their growth has been affected very badly because of all this nonsense. Okay. There are some issues. I mean, these are obvious. There have been mental health issues, lack of interest, because most of our students, especially in our sector, are today coming from the lower or middle class strata of the society. One-room house, two-room house, family there. Children are, everybody is listening to online classes. You can imagine what kind of interest they will have, what kind of stress level and anxiety they will have, the fatigue of going through so much of classes, eyesight issues, classroom routine. This is a very important thing of the classroom. See, when a student is sitting in the class, he is not only listening to the teacher, he is also cracking jokes with his nearby student. He is moving his legs, he is laughing, sometimes he is standing. You know, all these kind of things are not there in the online class. Okay. All the time sitting in a particular posture, and of course, I mean, so these are obvious things. I'm not spending time on this. But I come to one of my most important slides, and we will discuss assessment. Last week, there was a very important online programs which are going on, and I attended a session on HR and training. And a question was asked by one of our friend only, who is present here, that a student gets 90% in the online exam, whereas normally he gets 60%. Is it a failure of the training? Somehow that point was not, in my opinion, it was not adequately addressed there. Okay. My opinion is that we are not even reaching with that statement of this 90%, 60%. We are not even talking about training. We are talking about assessment. Training has not failed, assessment has failed. Okay, assessment has failed. So we got to have a very different assessment for the online mechanism. It is not going to work. Okay, you can have proctors and put number of cameras. Yes, it will add up to cost. It will add up to the cost. So what is the solution? Solution is have open book exams, different kind of questions, not the traditional question. The traditional questions will never do for online assessment. Okay. I have tried something like that in KMI for some things, especially with the Parpol Solas. I used to have open book exams. Okay. I started another thing. I said, I gave you one word, I'll give you one word like turbocharger. You frame a question for which turbocharger must be the answer. You make a question. And the marks will depend on the quality of the question. Question has to be only one sentence. So that brings in creativity. And let him talk, let him do whatever he wants. So the assessment has to be very different. In education, there is very important that you have classes and you have tutorials. Tutorials help as revisions, remove the anxiety of the students, build up this confidence, and it provides one-to-one interaction between the teachers. So whenever in the class tutorials are going on, the teacher is walking, is talking. Acha bhai kahan tak kar liya, kahan pe, where is your problem? What difficulty do you have? Chalo, let's help together. This is missing in online. So we should have a mechanism where we address this. Okay. Availability of the teachers or effective interaction. I've heard a lot of people say, yes, we are always available. Are there any statistics available as to how much time effectively this has been used? Okay. Student profile, I have already commented on that. So we must understand where our students are coming from. Different subjects may require different approaches. Same approach may not be applicable for each and every subject. It has to be different. Okay. replicate campus environment, because in our kind of mechanism where there is compulsorily residential program, we try to bring in or bring out a different person than what we got. Okay. So how do we address that? Why have only online classes? Why not have online yoga session, online singing session, quiz program or something? You know, involve them more and more. There are excellent teachers who are tuned to online thing. Maybe the teachers are available in Madras. Why a student from Pune or Mumbai or Delhi cannot benefit from that teacher? We should approach DG and say, we should please allow that. And the institute should give some charges, should not be free. Okay. So the receiving institute should pay to the institute whose teacher is teaching. So the benefit will go to all the students. Now, this is a very important thing. And again, I go back to the discussion last week, where the head of a training institute raised a question that the full batch has passed out in the online session and the industry is not interested in placing them or taking them. What do we do? My take is that suppose you are sick and you go to a doctor and you are told that this doctor has learned everything online. Will you be comfortable? No, you will not be comfortable. Similarly, why should industry be comfortable? Okay, why should industry be comfortable and say, yeah, you have taught them online, we are happy, we will place them in our ships? No, they will not be happy. So what is required is a dialogue. Take industry into confidence, tell them what we are doing, get their inputs. Maybe they have some ideas, okay? Get their inputs, implement them and get the industry acceptance. Okay, any education cannot survive if the industry is not together. I have always said that the regulators, the government, the industry and the academia, all three have to be together. Okay, so this will be an important part, and I'm sure maybe we will have some discussions on this. Okay, so I come to the last slide. Let's be careful. You know, I'm not speaking this, but let's be very careful of this. Let's not do something where we keep on saying, we are taking very good classes, online sessions going on. But okay, with this, gentlemen, I have come to an end. I have really rushed, but I hope I have been within the limited time. I once again thank MPG for giving me this opportunity to share my views. And I'm sure the discussions are going to be meaningful and helpful for all of us. And I extend my greetings to the members of MPG, including myself, on this launch day, anniversary of the launch day. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saxena. Absolute pleasure listening to you. And yes, I noticed that you have suggested some ways of getting over this situation with online education, especially when people are liable to not react and not respond in the way like if they were in a classroom. And I can really see that because as a trainer, sometimes I have said things and expected a response if I was in a classroom, some nodding or something, which I'm not really able to see on the screen, or it's not really possible to look at the minutiae, the minute things that are happening around you. So it probably steals something from my presentation and my enthusiasm as well. So yes, you're very right, and we need some, like you suggest, some radical things need to be done. I would say some cutting-edge solutions probably as we go along. I'm sure everyone will find a way to live and prosper in this online world that we are living in. And sometimes I think the younger lot will adapt faster because the children going to school, and even in primary sections, they have been looking at online education. So when they finally reach pre-C, that's when it's going to really be way smoother than it is now. I think those are my thoughts. Thank you so much again, Dr. Saxena. Appreciate your being with us. We have crossed 200. We went up to 202 a few minutes back. So that's like they say in the box office business. Yes, this show is a hit. So okay. Friends, let us move to the panel discussion. The moderator of the panel discussion is Captain Prabhat Nigam, who is founder president of the Maritime Trainers Guild. Captain Nigam is a well-known personality in the maritime industry and has many accolades to his name. He began his maritime career with the prestigious training ship Rajendra in the year 1981. Captain Nigam is an extra master, holds an honors degree in nautical science and MBA in shipping and logistics management, and is a member of the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers UK, and is currently pursuing a PhD in nautical studies from the Indian Maritime University. Presently, he serves as director at the Chitkara University, Chandigarh, and is principal of the School of Maritime Studies there. He is also the Government of India DGS examiner for mates and masters. As a member of the Board of Technical Committee of IR class, he contributes actively in the proceedings of the Indian Register of Shipping. Captain Nigam is very popular amongst the younger mariners and regularly interacts with them through his Second Mates Forum on Facebook and Top Notch on WhatsApp. I think that might be the way to, to be handling online education in future. Get onto social media and break barriers with the younger lot. Yes, Captain Nigam, you will be with 6 panelists. I will go ahead and introduce the panelists. They are not in any particular order, but just as I received their brief introductions.
Yeah, Kamal, before that, I want to check if I'm audible.
Sorry?
Before you introduce others, I want to check if I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible, but very faint. So I have jacked up my volume. I can hear now. But
how do you hear me now?
Oh, much better now, much better.
Okay,
much
great.
Yes, I think you'll have to hold the mic a little closer to you to get it right. So, friends, the 6 panelists, the first one is Arun Kishore Ishwara, who is Associate Professor Marine Engineering, Indian Maritime University, Kolkata. Arun is a marine engineer, having obtained his graduation in the year 2001 from Mary. He worked as a seagoing engineer till 2012 and as chief engineer on chemical tanker ships from 2008 to 2012. Subsequently, he worked as LPG terminal safety engineer and as a chief engineer for dredging at Visakhapatnam before joining the School of Maritime Design and Research as a scientist, where he worked under the guidance of Professor S.C. Mishra, Professor R.P. Gokaran, and the late U.S. Ramesh in sponsored research and projects. He joined IME Kolkata as an associate professor, marine engineering, towards the end of 2015. He was in charge director of the institute from 2017 to 2019. Currently, he is pursuing a PhD at IMU in the area of shipboard LNG storage. He has presented papers at the SNAM annual meeting 2013, at the Institution of Naval Architects in 2015, and the Cryogenics Engineering Council, CEC ICMC, in 2021. His current works include technical consultancy in the design of multi-purpose transport solutions for Birla Corporation and technical consultancy for the preparation of EEXI technical file for a reputed LPG transporter. That's Captain Ishwara. Well, Mr. Ishwara.
Good evening, sir. Thank you, Captain Kamal sir, for giving an excellent introduction. Thank you to MTG for giving me this opportunity, especially Captain Prabhat Nigam sir. I will share my presentation now.
Captain Ishwara, Mr. Ishwara, one sec. I think I will run through the entire introduction and we will then come back to doing it. Is that right, Prabhat?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I will begin the moderation once you have introduced everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ishwara. Captain Anand is next. Captain Anand Radhakrishnan is Principal HIMT, that is the Hindustan Institute of Maritime Training, Chennai. He comes with 14 years of sailing experience on bulk oil and container vessels, 16 years with HIMT Chennai, associated with post-sea training, and he is adept at handling modular, simulator, and competency courses. That's the shortest intro I have seen in a long while. Thank you so much, sir, for hearing my request for making it brief. But you really made it brief. Thank you. Next panelist is Captain Amit Bachchas, who is Director, Integrated Project Management Group, ARI, New Delhi. Captain Bachchas has 15 years of work experience at ARI in various roles, with significant experience in the management of a range of marine and offshore simulation projects worldwide. His current focus is on the deployment of these products on cloud. Besides an MBA, Captain Bachchas has over 10 years experience in operating a large variety of vessel types. And I must say, Captain Bachchas, your brief is as brief as Captain Anand's. Thank you so much. Next is Captain Vinod Naveen, well-known personality in the industry and in shipping circles. Captain Vinod Naveen is Associate Professor, Indian Maritime University, Kochi campus. Captain Naveen, BE Master Mariner, works at the Indian Maritime University as an Associate Professor in the School of Nautical Studies. He has held the position of Principal of a Maritime Academy for about 10 years prior to this assignment. He is also an external examiner for nautical competency exams with DG Shipping since 2012. He is a member of the Nautical Institute London and a member of its Executive Council at London. Naveen maintains an interest in seafaring by participating in various shipping conferences and seminars. He also writes articles in various periodicals, including the internationally acclaimed Seaways magazine. He is passionate about imparting knowledge to the next generation of seafarers. He is interested in organizing and conducting maritime events and has conducted an event appreciating the Secretary General of IMO for IMO's efforts for seafarers during the pandemic. He is currently pursuing a PhD in blockchain technology and its applications in the maritime industry. Yes, Captain Naveen, blockchain technology is a very interesting subject, and at some time we will probably put out a very special edition of MTG webinar exclusively for your subject. Captain Manoj Hirkane is next. He's Senior Vice Principal, Tolani Maritime Institute, Talegaon, Maharashtra. Manoj started his career as a mechanical engineer in Wainganga Cements in Madhya Pradesh. He has served from cadet to master in the Shipping Corporation of India for 14 long years. He is an extra master and has a post-graduation in quality management. He is an external examiner for mates and masters and is now Senior Vice Principal at the Tolani Maritime Institute. I think we are just about at the last panelist. Yes, Dr. Captain Suresh Bhardwaj. Bhardwaj is Resident Director and Principal, Masa Maritime Academy, Chennai. Dr. Bhardwaj has over 40 years of work experience, which includes 5 years as master and in command of various types of ships of the Merchant Marine. Subsequently, 25 years of multidisciplinary, okay, that's a complicated word, multidisciplinary shore experience in senior and top management positions, spanning the marine industry verticals of commercial operations, consultancy, academia, and research. Dr. Bhardwaj is currently the resident director and principal at Masa Maritime Academy at Chennai that runs competency and related simulator courses. So from the language of Dr. Bhardwaj's intro, we can understand the high level of academia he resides in, or the clouds up there that he floats in. Excellent. I think that's about it. Prabhat, over to you. And we are looking at things very expectantly and looking forward to this wonderful group of people giving us some wonderful ideas on online assessment and training. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamal. And thank you for introducing all the panelists. Namaste to everyone. Namaste to all the Gurujans and all my friends present here. An elaborate introduction was given to the panelists. I would like to add something to it. How did we choose this panel? This panel consists of heads of pre-C institutes, post-C institutes, and an expert in knowledge who was introduced in maritime education and training, who was introduced in the end, Dr. Suresh Bhardwaj, who also happens to be my guide in PhD. Another important factor was taken into consideration that all the cardinal points are covered. So we have from north, Captain Amit Bachas, from south, Captain Vinod Naveen and Captain Anand Radhakrishnan, from west, Captain Manoj Hirkane, and from east, Chief Engineer Arun Eswara. Now let me take back all of you in time and remember what we did on 1st of October 2019 in the precincts of India Habitat Center in New Delhi. There was no pandemic that time. We all had met physically. There were about 300 plus people present over there. The chief guest was none other than DG himself, Mr. Amitabh Kumar. And what did we deliberate upon that day? We deliberated upon digitalizing the maritime education and training. Unknowingly, we seem to have knocked on the door of online training, because soon we did not have a choice but to resort to online training. Now today we are here about 2.5 years after that, trying to figure out what positive things happened and what not so positive things happened. And rightly enough, Captain Mahapatra, Dr. Saxena have already laid down the roadmap and given us points. So let us begin our introspection. And I would first invite Captain Vinod Naveen to tell about what he thinks or what is his opinion about online training, which we are doing for past 2.5 years in his institution and his experiences.
Yeah, thank you, Captain Prabhat. I think as I start, I have a question for Captain Kamal Chadha, if he's still here.
Yes, he's there.
Captain Kamal?
Yes, I'm right here. I'm right here.
We are not going to let you hide behind the camera.
Thank you.
So my question, since we are on online, my question is something which million people have asked a million times. Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. And for all the good introduction that you did, let me just go back to the question you put across to Captain Mahapatra with your role in his movie. Let me tell you, if Captain Mahapatra doesn't give you a role, you look more like Sean Connery, you know, the Scottish, the secret agent James Bond. You are one. Yeah.
Thank you, Naveen. I'll take that as a compliment, as a humorous compliment, if you like. I will have a laugh at it, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, I've got one more question. Is my slide visible to you, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
they are.
Okay. Right. So, respected seniors, I think we are fortunate enough to have quite a few seniors with us today. My colleagues in the teaching profession, my friends in the maritime industry, and the students who have logged in listening to this introspection on online training. So, being the first speaker, I am just going to talk about the transition from 2020 to 21 to 22, right? What we have gone through, some challenges, and some new skill sets that the trainers or the students had to acquire in the last 2 years. I'm not going to pass any judgment here. As I said, it's just a transition. And I know there are speakers lined up who will talk about how we evolved through this transition in the last 2 years and where we are heading into. We already heard two perspectives, one of Captain Mahapatra, which says online training is here to stay, and Dr. Saxena, who said no. I think there is quite a gap when we go to online. So that is for the future. I mean, for the other speakers to speak. I'm just going to go on what was and what is from 2020 to 22. And these slides I have made basically at the ground level. So it's very, very basic. At the ground level, in the say, I've taken inputs from the students, from the trainers, and what we actually transformed in the last 2 years is what I am going to present probably over the next 7 to 8 minutes. I'll try to keep on time. So I think this is a very major transition from physical class to an online class. We might take it very lightly, but moving over from a physical classroom into an isolated online class, for me, it was a big transformation that both the trainers and the students had to do. One of the challenges that we face in our online training is with regard to attendance. I mean, nobody is sure who is attending and who's not. You had students who were hooked on. So if you see, my left side of my screen will always talk about physical classes, what it was before 2020, and my right side of the screen will talk about online training. So that is how I've split my slides into left and right. So the students were hooked on in a physical class, but in an online class, the students are off the hook. So one of the skill set that we need to have is how to hook the students in an online class. That's something that trainers need to learn. Yeah. Okay. So you have what we have done in last 2 years is to move from physical to something what we call virtual. In fact, the whole world is moving into virtual mode, but this is how a screen looked like on a virtual mode with, as I said, who is behind, nobody is very sure. So the challenge number 2 is an identity crisis in an online training. It's a big crisis. We have switched off cameras. Who's attending class is always a big question mark. Yes, we had real students in our class, and in an online class, I would say God knows who. It could be their parent, it could be their friend, nobody knows. So another skill set that trainers need to have today is to be like a CBI, need to find out who's actually attending this class. Discipline, I think Dr. Saxena talked about it. We could maintain quite a good discipline in an online, in a physical class, but when it comes to online class, the students are much at ease. It's very, very difficult to get the students to discipline. So another skill set that the trainer needs to have in an online class is how to discipline the students online. We've had so many distractions, so we need to learn the skill of how to discipline online. A lot of interaction, which was one of the most important things in a physical class. People were there, people could interact, there was group discussion. But when it comes to online classes, it is a single student and with a lot of distractions. We are not sure whether the student is actually learning or thinking about something else. So interactions have become more of a distraction. Focus in the class was very important. You had a trainer and the students were in front of your class, and you could focus on the student individually. The students could focus on you. But when it comes to online class, I think we need to acquire that new skill, probably like a magician, how to hold the focus of the students attending online class. Very, very important. It not the skill set that you had in a physical class is not going to work. We need to have a new skill set, probably like this magician, how to hold the focus of students online. Yes, too much of theory is going on now. And one of the main disadvantages of online when it comes to pre-C is that where you had this hands-on experience, practicals are almost on a standstill. And I'm just using this platform to promote my campus. You can see IMU Kochi campus on the right side, and the students who are doing practicals when they were there in our campus. So challenge number 4 is how do we continue with hands-on work, which has almost become a standstill. But I'm sure the speakers that are going to come ahead of me or after me are going to speak about how we could overcome this challenge of hands-on work, which is missing in pre-C training because of online. So today we are another skill set is we probably looking at artificial hands with simulators and all that, not the physical hands that were doing hands-on training in the college. Of course, the trainer could have a lot of control on the students. Trainer could have a lot of control on the environment when it was physical, but when it goes into online, the trainer have very little role to play in controlling the students sitting far away. So it's more control to less control, including one of the challenges that trainer faces today is to manage an out of control online class. You really don't know. I mean, somebody's talking, some mic is on, and so on. So it's become a really challenge for the trainers how to keep the students under control. Well, another skill set that you need to know is how to control remotely, because you and the students are sitting so far apart, and you really need to master the skill of how to control them in a remote. But some of the advantages, we moved from the hard material to soft material. There's a lot of, I think this is a resource has really gone up when we move to online training. Yes, everybody knows that today we have used a lot of digitization and digitalization in online training. So that's a plus of online training. Yeah, there was a requirement of you to be in the class, and today you could attend classes from anywhere. Even if you are sick, you can still be at home and attend the class. So that way, the percentage of attendance of a student, if he really wants to attend, is really gone up because of online class. Location is irrelevant. We really don't want to know where and who is what. If you're hooked on to the technology, you can attend classes from anywhere. Education was very localized. It was happening just in a class, or people had to come to a particular institute. But with online training, education has actually gone worldwide. Anybody sitting anywhere in the world can actually do a course. As Dr. Saxena was saying, he was attending a course sitting online. And I think this is one of the changes that IMO wanted to bring through STCW 2010 by in the form of distance learning and e-learning. And it just got accelerated because of the pandemic. Yes, some basic infrastructure is required, but not as much compared to the infrastructure that you need in a physical class. It's just a few basics of a computer and a mobile. And if you see, this professor had this weapon, which was a stick, which you could frighten the students if they were in a physical class. Today in an online class, the student also have a weapon, which is the logout button. He just clicks the logout and that's it, right? So things have changed from the stick to a logout button. Just to quickly summarize the first part of my online training, From the ground level, learning is actually incomplete. Connectivity is one main issue for the learning being incomplete. You can see when we speak the words, half of them are missing. So what has gone into the head of a student, nobody knows. There's a gap in the mind because the learning is incomplete. Infrastructure, how much infrastructure added to training? I believe since we don't have it, we realize the value of infrastructure that is missing. So hands-on, because the infrastructure is missing, hands-on training has come to standstill, and there is gap in skills. So I would say there's a gap in the mind in theoretical knowledge and gap in the skills because there is no practical training. But I'm sure the speakers are going to speak of how we overcome the situation. And let me just tell you that we are talking about educating or training humans, not machines. So we have to be sensitive with these things. Just quickly moving over to the assessment part, where we have students writing exam in a hall. It's become writing an exam in front of a computer. Again, there is an identity crisis, though a lot of technologies come in, but still the identity crisis still exists. There are a lot of technology of putting multiple cameras all around to detect whether it is the right student, but I still think that there are ways to get over it. So the sanity of examination is not really 100%. There's always this crisis of identity. Hall invigilators have moved to human proctors, as they call it. So we have a lot of human proctors proctoring people giving exams. But the pluses of it is that evaluation can be 24/7 from anywhere. You have an ease of taking the test. You just take it, upload it. The answer sheet goes to the evaluator directly. Evaluation happens faster. You have different modes of exam, especially we could have MCQs and such type of exam, such type of methods included because it was online. Evaluation becomes faster when you're online. Result declaration becomes faster. But the big question mark is the assessment complete? That's a big question mark. Is the result true? You know, as somebody already suggested, 90%, 60%. So we're not really sure about the results. Are they really true? Online assessment requires a lot of environmental checks to be met. So that's another one. But the advantage of attending online assessment, like online training, is worldwide. Location doesn't matter. But since the location doesn't matter, I think we need to really have a third eye just to make sure that the sanity of the exams are maintained. Yes, just coming to my last slides, for online training, we need some hardware tools as well as software tools. And I think somebody mentioned when you do online assessment, we need to have a foolproof assessment method. And I think one of the good ways of doing online is to have an open book system so that we can eliminate the cheating part or the malpractice once we can have an online open book system. We need to move from testing the memory to actually having online assessment thinking based. You know, we can make the students think rather than just testing their memory. Some gaps in online assessment, again, the connectivity comes in, but the bigger gaps is, are we able to do a true assessment? Is the results that we are getting from online assessment is true? And if it is not true, then we are really getting to the bottom of competency, which is actually the base of shipping. So there is a big question mark when it comes to online assessment, which has happened over the last 2 years. With that, I just put a small quote just to bridge the gap between Dr. Saxena and Captain Mahapatra. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change, their minds cannot change anything. This is not what I've said. This is what Mr. George Bernard showed. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Vinod. Well, you have touched upon most of the salient points, both for training as well as for assessment. And just for a quick recap, you did talk about attendance, control, and focus in the class, and the missing discipline and hands-on training. With this, I will switch on to the next speaker, Chief Engineer Arun Eswara, who is from IMU Kolkata, also of a PC Institute. Arun, over to you. And if you can dwell a little bit more upon what Captain Vinod has been talking, that would be great.
Good evening again, one and all. Thank you, Captain Nigam, Captain Vinod Navin, for an excellent presentation. It was really illustrative, Well, I would start my presentation with an introspection. It is all about how we try to say, okay, I hope my screen is visible. Well, the presentation is all about recollecting some of the things that we tried here and what are all the feelings that we had or learning day to day. Some of them I try to recollect and put it in the presentation with some kind of guidance or conclusion to those end. It is in line with the current theme, that is introspecting the e-learning process. Well, the first thing I would ask, continuing with what Captain Vinod Navin had finished, I would pose actually some questions. Given an option, what people would like to do, whether they would like to go to a cricket stadium and watch it or watch it on a television, whether they would like to enjoy a live rock show or watch it on a television, visit a temple, or would you like to travel to interesting destinations? How much we would like to enjoy a movie, a much awaited movie in a film theater, or how much we are happy watching it at home, Amazon Prime or something like that. Then I would like to ask whether you would like to attend my lecture or watch it a recorded lecture. Some of the answers, if we ask ourselves, we'll get answers to most of the things that Captain Vinod Navin has been presenting. These are some of the questions that we can think of. Now we started with, say, the learning, innovative online learning as the theme is. We require to present actually the concepts very clearly on the e-learning. We are learning and also the students are learning. We try to make it very interesting. Like one of the video classes that was generated for the students, I just try to bring in. We try to use the very good software packages to explain concepts. I was trying to explain DeLaval turbine. It's in the marine heat engines and air conditioning. My presentation is set for the engineering pre-C course, where we created nice animations. We were showing what was not possible in a regular class. We were showing how the blade would be, what is the nozzle, how the flow would be. We were able to explain the concepts really well to the students. We tried to create the 3D models. We brought in explaining valves, how to dismantle. We try to use the modern tools that are available at our disposal. They're expensive, but they did indeed help us a lot, to bridge the barrier between a physical class and a virtual class. We try to bring in all the latest tools that are possible at our end to explain the students what is a wall seat, how to dismantle it. Some of the classes are actually put up in this video as presentation pieces. And we did try to even explain a much complicated design, such as a Curtis turbine, where we need to explain a fixed blading and so on, which is otherwise very difficult in a regular class, to get that kind of visualization, what they are learning about, the students. We did bring in this value addition with online tools that are available. But you see, whatever we do, it is first, it will bring in a kind of attraction that, wow, what a good presentation, or in which software is he making, rather than the concept. It will try to shift the focus of the learners. My intention is to teach actually the concept of the turbine, but it will shift to the software. That is the fallback actually of this, using these tools. Then you can have many other interesting ideas which will be coming day to day. These are not my videos. They are just taken in the context actually from various service providers. The learning, e-learning is going to be very dynamically, going to be very radical, the way the students can learn with various kinds of solutions being offered by the tech startups. It will be so innovative and it will be so changing drastically over the coming years. It is very, very difficult to cope up with the advancements. in our fear, it would shift from a teacher to the facilitator, to the animator, and also to the service providers. Maybe it would be a self-learning package rather than instructor trying to explain it physically in the class. It is going to have all sides of effects. But finally, the industry, what it might be looking, this video is about the United States Air Force, how they are going about with a radical shift in the maintenance procedures. Everything is being offered through lens, right from the checklist to the training on the job at the same place. So virtually, if I present it in a sum, we don't need training. We just need one human and a Google Lens. It will show by a video what he has to do in the next step. The checklist will be there, the job card will be there, the safety cautions will be there, everything will be there in the Google Lens. All he has to do is just watch the video and repeat those actions. So this is how we find actually the radical shift in training is moving. It is very, very innovative. You can see that all the checklists are being provided there in the Google Lens. You just need to tap it, the permits checklist, everything would be there ready. All the operator would be doing is this possibly in future. This is what we are learning from these advancements. So having actually seen these kinds of advancements, the question arises, what is the right tool for us to teach? And the question may even turn out to be is whether we need training. It may even boil down to that question. All the industry needs is a human who can understand actually the software and do what it says. Now, how is it going to be in future? So we have used, say, our tools and all. There are certain advantages of e-learning, which I summed up. Captain Naveen has spoken about it, and the speakers have already summed up all these things. The advantages I'm not going to deal with much in detail. The e-learning, we have seen it is adding a lot of creativity. We are able to engage the students and all. But why isn't e-learning a lot better? It is better for sure. Why isn't a lot better? E-learning, when a service provider makes a package, he has to target a large number of customers. He cannot make it for a select group of people. So it will be broad. It cannot be specific. Whereas our training is specific to a particular need. So e-learning, when it is made, this misses this idea. And moreover, the good and bad practices, where the teacher is sitting, how good is his equipment, where is the student sitting, how is his environment. So many other good and bad practices are summed up. They all can be thought about here. Another point, most of our academic teaching, it can happen in just in time or just in case. The university or even most of our pre-C courses, they happen by just in case way. That is, we learn a lot of things. Possibly we may not use it again. Many of them we learn, but we have to learn because it is a part of our curriculum. Whereas if you look at just in time, which a lot of experts say is actually the need of the industry, you just learn actually for what you want to do. We want to fight a fire, we just learn firefighting, we go there, that's it. Something like this, which people say is far better. Some of the technical advantages can be disadvantage. I showed you the animation is very good, but it shifts the focus from the concept to the wow factor, so it may distract actually the learning. And not everybody can afford actually such kind of expensive softwares or gadgets, or even the students will be finding it affordable difficulties. How good device they can buy, what kind of audio device they can afford, and so on. What is the data plane they can afford, and so on. So most of the e-learning, we find that they can detract from learning. Now, let us look at what is STCW saying. Is it a just in time or is it a just in case? If you look at our pre-C engineering, it is just in case example. We learn a lot of things. Possibly we may use it, we may not use it. But this is what we should know when we go for e-learning. These statistics are from a survey which we did it at the Kolkata for the 4th semester students of BTech Marine Engineering. They are in agreement to what Dr. Saxena has shown us. Classroom lecture is being preferred by 93% of the students, in spite of our best efforts to bring in good softwares and make them engaging. Video tutorial, though it was good, it was least preferred. The reasons are very intuitive because we are hearing directly from the students. These three are the students' feedback directly. Some of them are really thought-provoking. They say that a comprehensive set of activities that include reading, writing, speaking, listening, and understanding, a classroom setting shapes the personality of the students, which can hardly be seen in online learning platforms. Definitely, the recruiter would actually look at the personality in the short duration that he will screen a person for a shipboard job. The interviewer gets about roughly 15-20 minutes to screen a student for which he's preparing for last 4 years. So the personality speaks there, and which will miss actually in the online, way. Sorry for that small shift. The second point is another student says that I don't know about others, but I personally found for me that it is impossible to end the whole online lecture sincerely. This is a very strong confession by the student. The third, he is mixed, giving a mixed views. Classroom lecture is best in terms of increasing the level of concentration, as we have talented teachers before us who can personally, teach better. That is what his writing would mean actually. On the other hand, video tutorials are of great learning purpose, and by using this, we can enhance our knowledge ourselves. It may be called self-study. So by this, he means that he can view it multiple times and he could do it as self-study. That is very fair enough. Coming to assessment, which also echoes the same impression as conveyed by Dr. Saxena. The question that we framed are innovative question. It has nothing to do with, online or whether it is offline. We created innovative questions to test them because it is an online training session. The questions the students liked a lot. It is not that it is online, but the questions were different. They were testing their concepts. You can see from their feedback actually what they mean by this feedback and why did they opt for it. They said that such assessments should be encouraged more than the traditional class tests. We have a freedom to write the concept in our own way. That was what we were testing. This is what is liked by the students. So they say that this kind of test should be encouraged. Video tutorials can be more simple to understand and should be provided to the students by the teachers. This is what they feel. And it echoes the same sentiments that we have seen earlier. Now, to sum up actually with these thoughts, actually, I would like to bring the same 1979 popular number from Pink Floyd. It says that we are trying to build a wall around us through, in case learning, just in case kind of learning. This is what was echoed by the generation then, and everybody grew to the tune. Now, what are we trying to do? So we will ask actually which wall would be better, whether it would be the regular classes or whether we want to keep ourselves, the students engaged in devices. They can be harmful to the the eye. They can be harmful to the human behavior. They make them secluded, claustrophobic, several other disadvantages they can make it. And this is what I would like to leave it with the introspection, that we will try to do best till we know something available is better. once
Thank
we
you,
know,
Arun. Thank you, Arun.
yeah,
Thank you for a balanced plus and minus of online training. And with this, let us rush through rest of the introspection because we are about 30 minutes behind schedule.
sure.
Next speaker is Mr. Captain Manoj Hirkane.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you. My words are going to be reiterating the sentiments expressed by Dr. Saxena, Mr. Arun, and Dr. Naveen. Basically focusing on the PC training. With the emergence and spread of COVID-19, the education institutions were closed overnight, and we were left with no option but to go for online classes during this pandemic period. The online learning delivered education to everyone sitting at their homes in this period of uncertainty, and we could do something which was urgently needed that time. Many of us who could not join IITs have registered for courses, online courses on NPTEL and Swayam platform. Even myself have registered for 2 courses and I have already completed 1 month because these are 3 months courses. And I'm attending these online courses where the trainers are from IITs. So we must acknowledge and be very grateful to the online education. So when it came, it was like thrusted on us, and we found it was not a cakewalk. We had a lot of challenges, from re-engineering our resources to motivating the students so that the best can be done to minimize the learning loss. So this was the objective, and now we had to prepare the people, process, and technology should be there. So trainers were required to be prepared, the trainees were required to be briefed, and the institute had to acquire the online platforms for conducting the classes. We exposed our trainers to attend various courses offered by the maritime fraternity organizations, and also we did a lot of in-house training so that our trainers became a little confident. We also conducted sessions for students and taught them the digital literacy and also the online education etiquettes. So we were ready now. The trainers were ready, the students were ready, and the infrastructure was ready. We had all kind of platforms. Some had Zoom, some had Google Meet, and so many platforms are there today. So we started the online classes. We were very happy, and we thought that, okay, if we cannot do offline, then we will do online. And we were like, we have already won the race. Within 1 week of online classes, we realized that students are not interested in online classes. Many could not join the classes. Many joined late. Many joined from restaurants while having lunch with their friends. And many attended classes while buying vegetables from markets. We could not ask them to keep their videos on because of bandwidth issues, and we could not ask them to keep them unmuted because we didn't like their home sound, kitchen sound coming in the class and disturbing the class. There was absolutely no eye contact and no face reading. There was no way to analyze whether they are understanding anything or they are just not understanding anything in the class. We were also not sure whether they are in the class or they are outside the class. So only one thing which we thought was required that time was to make the classes interesting. How do we make the classes interesting? We saw some presentations little before where we could do animation, we could make the audio clips, we could make the video clips. The faculty members, they themselves conducted the practical and recorded those clips were sent. Enough PDF material was sent. We tried to improve interaction by communicating on Google groups, WhatsApp groups, and also on other social forums. In class, we launched pre and post polling questions and compared their responses and acknowledged students' performance in class just to motivate them. We set aside time to have breakout rooms so students can more easily interact among themselves and do some group activities. We encouraged the students to put questions in chat. So some of these steps we were taking to ensure that the students are motivated and they are attracted to attend the online class. We also know there is a health hazard of spending many hours staring at the screen and also sitting at home with all kind of bad postures. And this was addressed by having interval between each class to refresh the mind and relax the body. We developed and extensively used the learning management system. We kept adequate material on learning management system, conducted class tests, quizzes, assignments, assessments, everything on LMS. And LMS was accessible to students whenever they wanted, whenever they had internet, and wherever they were. We also downloaded good informations from websites and YouTubes and supplied to students. We recorded the lectures, archived them, and also shared on demand for future reference. We did not give them the hard copies of the textbooks, but there were many authors, especially on the engineering side, where the soft copies were available of these books, and we sent the soft copies of textbook to students. This was all we were doing, but there were a lot of other problems. One genuine problem was interrupted power supply, poor internet connectivity, and unaffordability to buy laptops or desktops. 1 month after the online classes commenced, we conducted a survey because there was a requirement from DigiShipping. They wanted to know how the classes are going on. And we found that 60% of our students were attending classes using their mobile phones. Can you imagine 7 hours of classes attending, looking at the mobile phone? While the internet penetration is satisfactory in metros and big cities, the situation is very, very bad in smaller towns and villages. The students had to go places searching for internet signals. Without a consistent internet connection, there was a lack of continuity in learning. Maritime campuses, including other campuses, we can say, we had to get our hostels and classrooms wired immediately so that the students who are on campus, because that time DigiShipping had allowed some people can remain in campus. It was the 1/3 batch size, and we needed to provide them uninterrupted and unlimited internet connectivity. We encouraged our students to even write the university exams from campus because they were finding very difficult to write exams from their homes because of the poor internet connectivity. The another problem the students were facing was sense of loneliness. When the students are attending the online classes, they always like to learn a lot from their batchmates. However, in online classes, there are minimal physical interactions among the students and also between the students and teachers. This actually resulted in a sense of isolation for the students. Some of the students were actually in depression. It became important for us to open up other forms of communication between the students, between the junior and senior students, and between the students and teachers. We asked the academically good students to conduct the classes for their own batchmates. We also requested the senior students, again those who are good in studies, to conduct the online classes for their juniors. This was just to remove that loneliness and then the sense of isolation. We connected with the cadets on a weekly basis. We put our wardens and the sports coordinators to call them every week just to know about them and also about their families. It did create some bonding between the institute and the students and reduce the feeling of loneliness to a certain extent. In maritime education, extracurricular activities are given a lot of importance. In our organization, we have something called employability index, where we not only consider the academic performance, but we give a lot of importance to other activities. And how do we do this when the students are not here? But today, with the lot of digital advancement, we could do few things like conducted yoga classes in the morning. We had number of club activities. We did some cultural events, freshers parties, etc. There were a lot of online mind games played, quizzes. Even we went on doing social service events like clean the surrounding local areas. Wherever your home is, clean that area. But the online education couldn't be used to train the students adequately in solving states. Online learning could not offer human interaction. At institute, students learn to get socialized. They learn how to make friends. They learn how to learn from seniors, how to be patient, how to work in team, and how to compete with each other. These students always benefit from it. In online classes, this is impossible. In maritime pre-sea training, we give a lot of emphasis on table manners. They have to have etiquettes, how to eat the food. How do we do the parade training? How do we train the students in swimming? How do we train them in discipline, respect for uniform, officer-like qualities, and most important, the physical fitness, which is very, very important for seafarers. All this can be taught only if the cadets are physically present on campus. The frequent feedbacks which we got from our students confirm that no matter what we did, our students have lost on overall development. Recently, a survey was conducted at Delhi to understand the impact of online education on undergraduate courses. 85% of the students said they don't want to attend online classes. Another very important finding was 50% of course content was not understood by the student. We have 3.2 crore students studying undergraduate programs, and do we want them to go through this 50% of course content not understood? Big question mark. Similar survey was conducted where the participants were the university professors. These trainers, faculty members were asked many questions, and very interesting finding came out. One, the most important finding came is the grades obtained by the students are excellent. They got plenty of marks, 90%, 95% marks. But when they interacted with the students, they found their understanding of the subject was very, very poor. So marks are there, but actually they have not understood the subject. If we just look at the World Bank survey, which says the same thing, that 50% course content is never understood by the students studying in school or undergraduate programs while attending the virtual classes, online classes. In conclusion, I will say online classes in a maritime professional training, and that too for pre-sea training, should be seen as a complement and extension of offline classes, and certainly not as a substitute to offline classes. Today, time has come to acknowledge the benefits of online education, and it can be used in a hybrid mode to help the trainees to watch the videos, to learn the concepts, to revisit their lectures wherever they have not understood and they have doubts, and they can reinforce their learning, what they have learned in offline classes. Absolute online education for pre-C training is not recommended. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Captain Manoj. If I have to sum up what you have said in one line, certainly you are not in favor of online classes for pre-C cadets. Let us hear what Captain Anand has to say about post-C. Captain Anand, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I will just present my points. I will keep it as brief as my introduction was, so that we are well within time. Thank you, sir.
Yes, we have about 15 minutes to wrap up, which includes your delivery, Dr. Bhardwaj, Amit, and then question answer.
Yes, I'll try and finish it as quickly as possible. Yes. My perspective is all about post-C training, and especially more about the nautical competency courses. Now, these are some surveys which we have carried out based on our post-C competency courses, whereby I start off with the second mates course. Now, how was their level of expectations met when these online classes started off in the year 2000, and how is it being adequately met now after 2 years of online classes? When we talk about second mates preparatory course, at the commencement of online classes, it was only 20% of them who were willing to accept this as a method of training as far as competency. When we talk about 2022, the second mates percentage has hardly changed in spite of very big advances in the way we came up and started preparing for this online courses and then started delivering it. In spite of that, there's hardly any change. But when we look at the chief mates, first mate, phase 1 and 2, if you take the average at the commencement of online classes, only 25% of them were satisfied with it. Now, in January 2020, it came up to 60%. Now you can see the change. And when we come to the masters, ASM, Advanced Shipboard Management, at the commencement of online classes, only 30, and now the satisfaction level is about 80% of them willing to continue with this online system. All these based on pollings conducted during each batch in the middle of the course. So when you see it as a graph, you can see how starkly different or contrasting these figures are. Not much change, not much change in preference as far as second mate, a good jump as far as chief mates are concerned, and a very big jump as far as the masters were concerned. Probable reasons. As far as second mate course is concerned, we are dealing with students who have just finished their cadetship, who have very limited access to quality laptops, high-speed internet connection. Their apprehensions about ability to understand critical subjects such as celestial, terrestrial navigation, stability. And many of them are coming back to classes after a very, very long gap, finishing their pre-C, trying their best to get ships, finishing their cadetship, and then coming down. You can imagine how much of gap has elapsed from the time they completed their pre-C to the time they've come back for your second mates competency. Not much of learning on board. When I say not much of learning on board, yes, we know the limitations. Even though this is supposed to be the most important component of STCW, there is not much of structured training on board a vessel. And I don't mean that we are talking about only examination-based training. No, the real on-board training which we all have experienced. Distractions, age factor. So I can imagine if second mate students are going through this, the pre-C students are even younger. Now, as far as chief mates, first mate phase 1 and 2, they have better access to laptop and internet connection. Their initial apprehensions about overcoming all these critical subjects, with time they could make out that the learning tools or the teaching tools have developed over time, and they were able to satisfy their needs to a very large extent. Next, savings on travel and boarding, which translate to big reduction in expenditure. Their knowledge base is better compared to cadets. So I'm giving all these reasons why this preference for online education has jumped, whereas not so much with the second mates. Family priorities start demanding attention. So these are all the reasons why there is a preference for online training as far as chief mates is concerned. And why it has jumped so tremendously as far as masters, their knowledge base is much, much better. Excellent access to laptops and good internet connections. And one of the biggest, most important reasons I have checked and got to know is because at this level, most of them have relocated to cities and towns from small villages, which they used to be staying earlier in their younger days. Gradual shift, balance and priorities, spending quality time with family. At this level, they are more focused. They know what they want and they are able to get that better. Many prefer staying with family due to the responsibility, commitment, necessity, and also avoid traveling in the pandemic. So for all these reasons, the master's requirements, as far as online classes, they have a very, very strong preference. Coming to what DG Shipping has done over the last 2 years, especially with reference to maritime training, examination, as well as even the certification system. We were far ahead of many other countries, which took much more time than what our DG Shipping had done for us. In spite of threat of Indians losing out to the Chinese seafarers, and this was controlled due to the timely action taken by DG Shipping. Many rules, circulars framed keeping in mind the seafarers' immediate needs. Training continued through the pandemic, and many candidates still upgraded to higher COCs and also got promoted. Further, online orals have started now, where you find a student is appearing from Chennai. I, as an external examiner, maybe from Chennai, or I may be from Kolkata or Delhi. The surveyor is from some other MMD. So this is a very nice system which DG Shipping has brought in. And they also gave the options to the candidates, whereby if they didn't have the right infrastructure, they could come to the MMDs and give their exams. Online written exams were also tried out. Yes, I really don't know how successful it was, but it's a good start where we start thinking in the right lines towards the future. Now, as far as MTIs were concerned, we had a big advantage whereby we were able to use the experience of quality faculty who otherwise stayed far away from our location. It could be from any part of India. We were able to get excellent faculties nowadays, which would not have happened but for this online system. Most faculty who initially had the resistance or were digitally handicapped, we found they started performing admirably well. We were totally taken back. In spite of their age, they were able to do exceedingly well. And now we are facing another very peculiar problem, where many faculty have gone to the extent that they said, I prefer online only.
Yeah. They can take class from their homes.
Correct. Yes, sir. Right. Now, takeaway solutions. As far as post-C training is concerned, spending time with family, staying at home, attending these classes. Yes, it's a welcome break for the seafarers. Huge reduction in expenditure as far as travel and stay is concerned. Otherwise, you find that most of the maritime training institutes are located in metros, and 80% of our candidates are all from other places. They have to spend a lot on train, stay and travel.
Logistic is reduced.
Exactly, very true. And as far as improving online training techniques for second mate is concerned, this is where we need to concentrate and bridge the gaps. Use of animation, short videos, improve the faculty candidate interaction, because as we all discussed, we were talking to walls. So we need more interaction, frequent MCQ based questions. This is one way of continuous assessment, simulations, and Captain Amit will be going in detail, cloud-based simulation, where people can set up a simulation system and run it from anywhere. Possible use of artificial intelligence, but here probably the gadgets may become quite expensive. So for that, again, it has to be MTIs who have to invest on it, and people have to come for physical classes. And to finally sum it up, my only take on this is, I suggest that 50% of offline classes for second mate preparatory courses and 30% for, especially for chief mate phase 1, as and when the situation improves further. And for phase 2 and ASM, I still feel that the online mode is definitely going to achieve its purpose. With that, I conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain Anand. It was a really good introspection of post-C courses, and it was quite realistic. With this, before I call the next speaker, or rather the panelist, who is Dr. Bhardwaj, who will give us a perspective of what we have spoken about, I will launch a poll. And this poll is for all the seafarer students who are here. So there are two questions, one to pre-C and one to post-C. Pre-C, I have asked, we want pre-C training in online mode or offline mode. And for post-C, it is same question, whether they want in online or offline mode. Let us see what about, there are about 100 students who are sitting in this webinar. Let us see, after listening to all this, what they have to say. And then we will open them for asking questions to the panelists as well as to the keynote address speakers. Out of 122 people who are attempting, I have received 50% from them. Another 30 seconds, please quickly give your response on the poll, please. Okay, in 5 seconds, I'll end the poll. The poll is at the bottom of your screen. You can just see there is a small icon called poll. You open that and then you can answer the question or give your choice. Okay, poll closed. Now the answer to pre-C, whether they want online or offline, 13% want online, 87% want offline. And for post-C, I don't know whether they are second mates, mates or masters over here. It's 46% online,
54% offline. So it is more or less balanced. Online and offline is balanced. So I'll share the result. Can it be seen by all?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes.
Well, that confirms to what we have been introspecting till now, that at lower levels, people want to come offline, whereas at mate and master level, probably they want a good blended learning balance. With this, Dr. Bhardwaj, can you share your opinions and experiences?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, sir, for this opportunity to introspect and learn lessons. If I recall, it was about the end of March 2020 that COVID struck hard and strong, and the DGS closed down all the academies. Now, it was quite a sudden move, unimaginable, unprecedented crisis had descended. And we have literally had 2 full financial years, 2021 and 21-22, which is now getting over, which will go down in the history as COVID years, when all around the performances were challenged. Yet for us at the Masa Academy Chennai, these 2 financial year performances have been by far the best. Please remember, we operate in a very niche area of only competency courses and related simulator courses, where the balance between resources and returns is very fine. And my prime focus is on engineering. Captain Anand has covered the nautical. Now, these black swan events like this also bring in an opportunity to reimagine, rewire thought, strategy, action. We were challenged. We were challenged to take a steep learning curve and deliver the training mandate seamlessly from face-to-face to online. And believe me, what really made the difference was Masa credo of industry first, seafarer centricity with the superordinate national purpose remained our guiding principles. Our first attention went to the students who were already enrolled in the class. We cannot leave them in a lurch. We thought we must keep connected with them at least. So whatever platforms are freely available then, we kept them engaged. And we embarked on, as I said, on a very steep learning curve, improvised, continued our classes, so much so that, in end May 2020, DG opened the online classes. We were the first ones to submit actually all proper records of the last 2 months online classes and assessments and ask for a post facto approval. Of course, this approval never happened, but in the process, we got a head start. We learned fast. We saw another big advantage. We could source good faculty from anywhere, like Captain Anand was saying. We were suddenly not limited to Chennai. We got experts from all over, and the good one went around, and the classes started filling up quickly. Look at the very common feature of breakout rooms. What a powerful method of learning. We can create heterogeneous groups, the group work, group discussion on case studies, learning from each other's experience, somebody coming from a BP or a Shell, somebody coming from an ABC company, somebody coming from bulk carrier, somebody from tankers. Where do you have this facility in brick and mortar classrooms? Meanwhile, we were really hearing pathetic stories from elsewhere. Faculty getting laid off, salaries not being paid for months. Another important reality and the truth, we cannot brush under the carpet. Dr. Saxena mentioned it very briefly. The crooked minds that we are. Some saw another kind of opportunity here. Oh, it's just online class. Who bothers about attendance, records are to be created, and all sorts of things went on. But be that as it may, as we introspect, we had to improvise this digital recovery with safe, contactless engagement. We had to strike an emotional connect with our own teams and the seafaring community at large on an ongoing basis. And this, we realized, actually built a social capital, a goodwill. And this got very well balanced with our culture of excellence. Let us look at simulators. It was late in November 2020 that the simulator courses were allowed in a physical mode with 1/3 capacity. We had lost precious 8 months of that financial year. And we got into it whole hog with simulator courses doing double shifts and on holidays to cope up with this demand and the backlog that was created. Thanks to Captain Amit and his team of ARI, our simulators were getting overworked, but the team was standby always to tackle the issues. We had some major issues. We are located in IT corridor, and none of the IT companies are working from office. We had power surges. We had to put a power stabilizer at the whole building. And again, it was 1/3 capacity for the simulators. Many institutes refused to run for low margins. And some, of course, unethically skyrocketed the fees. But we took a very compassionate view. All what we could do for that seafarer, please remember, the whole country was responding to his needs, making things simpler for him. He was, after all, declared a key worker. What can we do for him to make his life simpler so that he could join the ship much easier? So maintaining COVID protocols, arranging even their accommodation, we worked tremendously hard to keep up the service going. And touch wood, we have not had a single case of COVID infection in the last 2 years. Next area, we actually saw a great opportunity of no limitations of these brick and mortar classrooms, We could have as many classrooms as online as we want, provided you have faculty and students. So why not value-added courses? Move away from DG-approved limited courses. And again, Captain Amit was responding. He came up with a wonderful Lemmy Engines course online. We have never looked back. Suddenly, the requirements for travel, hotel stay, all vanished from the comfort of the home anywhere in the world. Participants could log in, take the course at Indian fees, and it continues to be a huge success. We expanded our portfolio of value-added courses. And I can tell you very recently, I have personally done a course with the top management of a European-based tanker company on human factors focus, which is coming in SIRE 2.0 and TMSA, And it was greatly appreciated. So our reach has now become global. And of course, all this translated. We actually got performance bonuses, sir, while there was terrible stories of non-payment and from many academies. So, Mr. President, sir, well, thanks for this introspection opportunity. What I can summarize is, looking back, the academy's agility, I think a compassionate action, adaptive capabilities during the trying times, backed by a very sympathetic and understanding and encouraging MASA board, demonstrated its enduring strength towards a larger promise to create sustained value. Shipping is highly unpredictable. Today, COVID gone, Ukraine crisis is looming large. We don't know when what will hit us. So these traits, I think, will be very, very enduring. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, sir. I couldn't have summed it up in a better way. So you have saved me the trouble of summing it up. And thanks for a very comprehensive view of the positives of online training. Two takeaways from what you spoke. Industry, that is our shipping industry, is there because seafarers are running their ships. Otherwise, we as trainers or superintendents or anybody else is not required. As long as the seafarer are running the ships, we are there. And the second one, which is very close to my heart, is adapt to the change to flourish. Thank you so much, sir. Our introspection is more or less done, complete. And we have introspected offline or online. Some of the speakers spoke that offline is better because of reasons they quoted. Some of the speakers or panelists told online is the new change or online is there to stay, and the merits were quoted. I will fail in my duty if I do not call upon the tools which we are using for online training, rightly being depicted here now today by our last panelist, Captain Amit Bachchas. Captain Amit, over to you.
Thank you, sir. So we'll start sharing my screen. Thank you, everyone. So no one wants to disrupt in the way we function. We heard what the vision Captain Mahapatra has shown, and then the questions or the fidelity of sanity of exams and assessments were asked for. So when we started, the pandemic started and so on, the challenge was faced whether the simulation technologies which we were used to work in a particular way, how it is going to change. The only way we could think of was to go digital or to migrate to clouds. And that's what we did. All the simulators were made over the cloud. Just a second. Okay. So when we say about the cloud simulations, we are saying that there is a cloud server over where all the simulators are available, which can be then accessible to individual trainee, instructor, or the industry itself. It can be any area who can have a visualization of that what is going on over the cloud. All the elements which is required on a simulator, whether it is a role playing, whether it is assessment, or whether it is the procedure which need to be monitored, can be done. Whether it is liquid cargo handling, ship handling simulator, engine room simulator, they all are available over the cloud in the similar manner which we are used to. So whether it is exercise for safety procedures, whether it is with respect to a particular course, or again coming to customized needs, what the industry needs, those can be addressed over the cloud. Apart from this, the cloud simulators, there were questions on how do I manage the students, how do we monitor. See, we are trainers. Our role is to think out of the box how we take care of the students. The monitoring part can be digitized. There are enough tools which can monitor in the background, can give you a record, can give you focused turnout. It can be digital invigilator who can monitor in the background and who can tell you how they are attending, how attentive they are. And you are having a live this thing that which students need to be attended more? What are the problems? The cloud itself is not only about simulation. There can be a whole real integrated mode where we are saying that the theory contents practical real-time simulation, demonstrations, like you said, AR, VR, or your recording sessions, or going to individual faculties, which may not be from your institutes, a recording session. So these all can be integrated. There can be theoretical assessment, there can be simulator-based assessment. So these all can be integrated in a real-time digital training and assessment platform. And along with this, it can be integrated with your existing IT infrastructure, which you have, knowledge and learning management system you already have. These can be integrated, and same time, the digital platform, which can be right from giving a session, what time the session will start, how to manage that, multiple simulation class all together, that can be done. It can be done with a digital monitoring, digital invigilator or proctor, and digital system administrations, your reports, how much the student was attentive, how many students attended, that all can run with a digital platform. Now coming to the next tool, which is going on already in the industry, and which was one of the questions which was raised, how do we assess the effectiveness of training? So the training has to be assessed on an automated assessment module, which can be independent. It can be a theoretical and it can be a practical aspect. So industry would like to judge him on the practical aspect more. Theoretical has been, there are enough tools, has been embedded, which can be improved upon. But for example, as they were saying that the industry has already assessing officers how effective they had been trained. So there are launching of scenarios for assessment, and we call it human capital. A report, a personalized report comes out where the reports can be up to a particular specific areas which can be defined. There is inbuilt engines for the rules which can be modified. Those rules can be again changed, and you can judge somebody's knowledge or say the learning objectives, and the reports can be prepared, and enough AI is available which can evaluate and analysis of all actions, can be real time or off time post process. So that way the reports will be generated. We have seen the efficiency of cloud simulators. All the functions of simulators are available over the cloud, along with what has been coming up. We are used to traditional ways of using a paper chart. Now we are coming up with e-chart. The methods are similar. You can have a parallel ruler, divider, a protector, and so on. And additionally, it can be digitized mode. So when we were saying that the students are not feeling connected, because for a master, for a mate, he can visualize what he has seen. For a pre-C or for a second mate, he has to think what we are talking about. So that's where, but once you put him into practice on a practical, okay, let's have this digital tool and do your chart work. On his free time, he can do it. So all those sessions, availability of digitized tools, the videos, innovative enough we have seen today, and it was summarized very well in different sessions. So these are available, including e-radar. When the institute was closed, how they do practice their radar plotting. So it is available in digitized mode, right from a cadet pre-C student to second mate and all those. If it is available in the digitized mode and it is being used into the similar manner as we all have been used to, then he will find it interesting and he can practice that. So that initial hiccup when suddenly COVID started and people were not prepared, now we are going into a direction where how we are going to use these to make our training more interesting. See, we are dealing with the generation now who had seen the temple run. Once they are interested enough, they will learn on their own. So they need continuous methods where they can be kept engaged. The moment you start giving him a theory session for long enough, he feels unconnected. The moment you keep him engaged, give him a practical problem and put him on a simulator, he starts feeling engaged. So when we are doing classes over the cloud and when we are doing teamwork and all those, we find that everybody is engaged, and at the end of the training, he is learning something. A pre-C student who has done basically learning about, let us say, echo sounder errors on a simulator, even for a short period of time, will have a better connectivity as compared to those who have learned it only in theory. And now with these modules and as we said, digital platforms, these things are available. We have to think from a trainer's perspective, how we change our method of training, how we look into what are the problems which were raised today and what are the solutions available to them. Now coming from there to moving on, as we mentioned in between also at some points, AR, VR and AI solutions, right? These are coming up. The areas which they could never practice, they can be done with the help of this. The suitable candidates for this will be a ME engine maintenance, which hardly any engineer has opened, but that can be taught to many students by the use of AR, VR or mixed reality. Yes, of course, there are tools and there is can be issue of attentive focusness, but the effectiveness of AR, VR or mixed reality cannot be ignored. This is the way forward. We have to integrate these things where learning can go on. Technology is changing on every day. Ships are bringing in more and more technology. The seafarer has to be adequately upgraded for that. So that's where these things comes up. The problems in AR, VR, MR with respect to tools also can be solved. It can be attended to. With your up and down scroll button, he can move in with the touch screens, with the clicks, he can move in and can see inside what is happening, what are the parts. So a big lab concepts can be brought in by AR, VR. We have seen today earlier presentations, enough emphasis on that. But what we are saying now, it's time to mix digital platforms and bring these concepts together. So this also brings us to key feature of monitoring and invigilation system. Somebody says that there were problems with respect to monitoring the students, what is going on. So there are enough tools with AI, ML, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, where these problems can be addressed to a lot more, whether it is identification. You show your ID card, your face is being recognized. I'll move on to a little bit more. Yeah. So that's here how it is going on. There is enough AI which is continuously counting the frames into the background, and it's getting presented over there, so that the sanity of system is maintained. It remains cheat proof. We have already seen digital examination module already incorporated over there, fully online version. Candidates need not to visit any examination center at any stage, and they are in completely contactless mode. Risk of personification is minimized, or we can say eliminated. Workflow can be customized, and it can be a complete system, right from booking, scheduling, examination, assessment 24/7, as we have earlier also was mentioned, and the result. And this has been already implemented. Digital certifications, we have seen that it is already in place. So technology, cloud assessment, cloud simulation is here to stay. It's time for us to see a changed view. So this can be future online classes, the student sitting with a laptop, desktop, and a mobile camera for continuous monitoring. It can be conducted remotely, remote simulation assessment mode, AI-enabled video surveillance, audio surveillance. So whatever is being going on in the background, once he know that he know the solution also. When he come to a campus, he makes some changes to his behavior. Same thing he will start making once he know that he is being monitored and he is being evaluated on those basis also. And there are sufficient software to block unauthorized PC functions and environmental scanning. So these changes will bring in much more clear views how we see. And as Captain Bardwaj was also mentioning a while ago, there are enough courses or the feasibility of the system is enough where we can widen our available sources for more focused ICE navigation, IGF bunkering code, or say LNG bunkering. All these things can be done over the cloud now. You have physical simulators, whatever you can do there can be done in a cloud simulator and across the globe. They can be your students now having based in Europe, learning from an Indian faculty who has sailed on those vessels. If you have faculty, you have the whole digital platform which can take care of your requirements.
Thank you, Captain Amit. And I'm sure this AR, VR, AI, ML is the way forward. And you are doing a wonderful job there in ARI of supporting the online training with these tools. Thank you so much. Can you stop the share, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we open for question and answer, I had a small presentation, but I will not make. The time is past, but I will mention the three things which I wanted to say about that and tell the people about it. One is, which I believe was mentioned by Dr. Saxena, that is MOOCs, MOOC, that is Massive Online Open Courses. And the two portals which are there of Government of India, there are so many private portals also. One is SWAM, the other is NPTEL. And there are a lot of courses are available over there where people can take and undergo those courses. I think Captain Manoj also mentioned that he did some course on NPTEL. The other was outcome-based education. Now the new trend is not objective of learning, but outcome of learning. It is more not teacher-centric anymore, but it is more what the student wants. So outcome-based education, which to some extent has been addressed in our STCW, whereas the new way of education which has come to NEP 2020, that is National Education Policy 2020, has it more in a very reformed or a quantitative form, where I should call it is in a very smart form, that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound form. So that was a few things which I wanted to mention. And having said that, I will open for question answer. And before a lot of the Gurujans who have already posted a lot of questions and comments, I will ask the students to ask the question, the cadets to ask the questions. And Captain Kumar Haldorai and Captain Biraf, if you are ready with those questions, then you can tell and Kirtan will switch them on.
So we're just hoping for some more interaction, and if the seniors could encourage, lead our participants into introspection, and we can get those chat questions.
Yes,
going.
please go ahead. I think there, I read something from Captain Shiv Halbe. Can we unmute him and can come on screen, please?
a question. Thank you, Captain Prabhat. A question to any panelist. You took the poll, which showed that the pre-C training 87% was offline, preference for offline classes, while on the mates and masters or the post-C was well 46-54, which is neither here nor there. It is a 50-50. Which are the classes in the post-C which would indicate? I mean, to me, I read it as a hybrid solution and not as a either this or that. So which would be the courses that would actually be preferred for offline teaching from a teacher's perspective, and which are okay with an online mode? Which are the classes, which are the subjects that they would like
You are
to?
asking about post-C or pre-C?
Pre-C was heavily in favor of offline, which if 80%, 87% say it's offline, then to my mind, it's 100%, because there is nothing left, once 87 is addressed. So it is for the post-C where the balance is this way, that way, which is a hybrid. So which are the subjects which the teachers have found that, yes, offline would be better rather than online?
Okay, Captain Anand, can you answer that question?
Yes, sir. From whatever we have observed, the key subjects where we prefer, or the students prefer, the blended mode with offline inputs also are subjects such as terrestrial, celestial navigation, as well as naval architecture, primarily stability. Whereas ship construction, cargo handling, the safety, bridge watch keeping, bridge equipment, they were able to handle by themselves using the online platform. I hope that answers the question.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Okay, I see two of the students have raised their hand. One
Yes,
is
sir. Mr. Bhadra has been unmuted, and we would like to take his question first, followed by Mr. Vignesh Gupta. Please go ahead, Mr. Bhadra.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening to the panelists. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I just have got two small things to ask, sir. So regarding this training and education that we talk about, and here I'm asking on a broader perspective. So training and education, what I understand, is not only limited to post-C, pre-C. It can be at any point of time, right? So why don't we think?
Can you please introduce yourself? Because
Sir,
then we'll be in a better perspective to answer you.
Sure, sir.
Whether
Okay,
you
sir.
are second mate, master, what level of student?
Sir, I'm presently appearing for my chief engineer's oral examinations. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask you, sir, one thing. Since at the present moment, when we talk about education and training, so training specifically from an engineering point of view, with the latest technology and changes which are taking place on day-to-day basis with new fuels, new engines, and all that. So why don't we have a system thought about by companies or trainers or whatever, where even on board, because Eswara sir, I believe, pointed out this fact of just-in-time, JIT, where, say, for example, I'm facing an issue or I'm not very clear about some particular concept or aspect of how it is working. Maybe I can immediately go back to my cabin, take a break, go through that online assessment or online portal, get a better understanding, and be able to come up with a better solution rather than waiting all the way back to go back on the drawing board, ask the company or ask the makers, wait for them, because ship is not going to stop. It is going to keep on running. So if we have 24/7 round the clock, something even on board, so that would be beneficial. Can anything be thought in those ways, sir? That's my one simple thing. If anybody can, any of the extreme panelists can work on this, sir. That is my simple.
I think Arun, you can address, and then Dr. Suresh Bhardwaj can address this.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Anirban, actually, for doing that. I will actually, I have shown that particular thing in my slide. Again, I'm going to throw that light onto that slide. You see here this particular screen where I showed actually, where is it gone? I think.
No, Arun, what he's asking is, it's there in your presentation.
Yeah.
But is it this kind of problem solving things? Is it accessible online, openly?
Currently, no, sir. Currently, no. There are not much specifics, but he can visit actually the MANBW website, or MANES now it is called. there are several maintenance videos which they are posting, like just in time. Like for example, he has asked about, say, dismantling an exhaust valve or dismantling a crosshead bearing. There are videos actually which are being shared by MANBW in their portal. So those, it's a very limited actually amount of videos which are currently available, but it can be done actually, like which was shown actually for the USAF. They have been doing that with Google Lens. You can get the on-demand videos by just clicking with some actions on your finger. You'll get that video. You can do the same actions then and there itself. You don't need to consult anything.
Okay, here I will like to reiterate once again to all the Gurujans. If you go on this NPTEL, which is by IITians, there's a lot of engineering knowledge over there, plenty of engineering knowledge, but very little related to marine. So it is time that we wake up and we put whatever research we are doing or whatever work we are creating, and this online has allowed us to create a lot of study material. We can, after meeting certain criteria, we can upload there for our mariners. Over to you, Dr. Bhardwaj.
On a broader perspective, on a broader perspective, what we are seeing is that the pace of technology changes is happening very fast. Take the case of decarbonization. There is so much of volatility. Which fuel you don't know, which is going to be, there is one group which is working on ethanol, the other group from Singapore is working on ammonia, there's the other one which is going on LNG. So we really don't know. There's so much of volatility. And with so much of investment, you don't know which path. So industry itself is grappling with the situation. By the time it translates into regulation and then to MET, we are far away. So I think the best approach is the onboard training, the OJT, that we have already got in STCW, that needs to be strengthened. There is a technology which is already available on board, and the exposure which the people on board can have, that is what needs to be much more strengthened from the STCW perspective. I would like to think that.
Yes, and that also strengthens the mentor-mentee relationship on board. Like when we were cadets, we were taught by the chief officer to all the tricks of the rope, and then we conveyed that same thing to our mentees. So on-board training, on-job training is, yes, it is always preferred way of training. We have Cadet Arun Sharma. Arun Sharma, unmute yourself.
So we have Mr. Vignesh Gupta already unmuted.
Okay.
He's got a question.
Okay.
How can we resolve the problem of interaction between masters and cadets in online sessions, sir? Mr. Gupta?
Yes.
Good evening, sir. I am Vignesh Gupta. I am glad to be in this webinar. My question is how we can resolve the problem of interaction in online session interaction. It's not that smooth as in offline. So, sir, is there any way to ease interaction in online sessions?
Vignesh Gupta, can you tell your rank? What are you?
Sir, I am in first semester doing BSc Nautical Science from Chitkara University.
A fresh cadet of BSc Nautical Science. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I believe Captain Manoj, 3C question. Would you like to answer?
Yes, sir. Vignesh, good question. And we mentioned in the beginning in our presentation that this is one area where we tried various methods like asking the questions during the class by polls, carrying out quizzes and weekly class tests, assessments. After every class, asking the questions to the students. These are some of the things which we are doing. We also encourage the students to call the faculty members whenever they have any doubt after their class hours. So the doors are open, and I am sure in Chitkara University also same thing is applicable. The best thing for you whenever you are in doubt, just pick up your phone and call the faculty member and clear your doubt. the attempt for good interaction has to be from both sides. The faculty members are doing something from their side. Now it is your turn. You have to take keen interest. Just pick up the phone and interact with any faculty you want. That is my advice to you.
Thank you, sir.
We invite Mr. Arun Sharma for the next question.
Good evening, sir. Sir, my name is Cadet Captain Arun Sharma from Chitkara School of Maritime Studies.
A bit louder, please, Arun. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cadet Captain Arun Sharma from Chitkara School of Maritime Studies. Sir, I am presently in third semester. And sir, I have a question that, sir, a student can be determined and be focused to participate in the online studies. But sometimes, sir, the environment or the people around are not coping up or ready to support. So, sir, what should we do then? Because if the environment is not correct, there is a person cannot develop a character that is to become a seafarer. And sir, that sometimes can be a problem, as Mr. Pradeep mentioned in the chat, sir. So how can we cope, what is the solution to that, sir?
Are you directing this question to any particular panelist?
No, sir. Anybody can answer that, sir.
Okay, so he has opened the choice. Again, I think Captain Manoj, you had talked about the environment at home and the disturbances which are around them. So would you like to address this?
Yes. So this happens, Arun, when you attend the classes, something is happening at home, mother is cooking food, and nowadays the work from home culture is there. Even the parents are, working from home, and we in India, we do not have one room for every individual. Mother in separate room, father in separate room, brother in separate room. It's not possible. So the best thing is, when you are attending the class, keep your mics off. Just maintain some distance from the rest of the family members. If you can find a place which is isolated, it will be very good. But otherwise, you have to find somewhere, some place from where the disturbance is going to be less. The second thing is, if you find that you're not getting motivated to attend the classes, online classes, the best thing is be active in the class. Just ask questions. I'm telling you, it is not possible for every student to understand everything in online class. The best thing to keep yourself awake, to keep yourself engaged in a class, is just ask the questions. You can chat, you can just put a simple question and you will find the faculty is responding to you, and then you will find you are involved in the class, and that is how you will get motivated. Also, you can interact with your other colleagues, other batchmates. You can form groups. There are some universities where the good students, they take the classes in the evening after the class hours. Like somebody is good in mathematics, so that student is teaching mathematics to everybody. And today, on Zoom and so many platforms are there where you can freely take the classes. So identify some students, those who are good in the classes, and you can have your all kind of discussions without faculty watching you. So that is how you will get motivated. And the most important thing for motivation is it has to come from inside a room. If you want to be a good officer, I'll just give you example. A doctor who is doing the medical, if he says that online classes were conducted and he did not learn how to perform a surgery, he is not a good doctor. Same thing is applicable for seafarers also. In seafaring profession, we cannot afford to make any mistake. If we have to go on the right side, I don't know whether you understand port and starboard. If you have to go on the starboard side, then you have to go only on the starboard side. We cannot go on the port side. There is no scope for any mistake. So tell yourself that you want to learn everything, you want to understand everything, involve yourself in class, read whatever notes, etc. are given, discuss with your batchmates, interact with your faculty, and I'm very sure you will get motivated.
May we request Captain Nalin Pandey, sir, to pose his question to the panelists now. Sir. Thank you.
No, sir. Thank you, Captain Viraf. My answer is just supplementing what Captain Manoj has said. See that I was watching one of the TV interview and the builder, Mr. Hiranandani, he has said in 2020 that not even 1% of the houses in India is built keeping the this type of pandemic in mind. So it is not built for work from home, because the question was asked from work from home. So he said that not even 1% of the houses in India is designed and built to meet the work from home criteria. Maybe some people who is very rich or in the villages where people have bigger houses, there the room can be converted to do the work from home or study. So in my opinion, this online education and thrusting the unnecessary pressure on the student is not good. We just try to some technological company, they try to impose it, but it is not natural, and it is not positively given feedback from engineering or medical or other sources. And as the time is very short, I do not want to give too much time in this, but this is what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, the work from home today is the ship. The ship is the best example for work from home. Thank you.
No, we just argue, but it's not there.
Okay. Let us take a couple of questions more from.
We have a trainee who's put in a very valuable and relevant question. The question is that there is a reluctance of companies, which is not just plaguing our industry, but also the corporate world, of what is colloquially nowadays known as the COVID batch. And how do they, can you guide these trainees as how they can portray themselves to be employable? So this has been raised by a gentleman on a direct message chat to self. So, sir, if the panelists can guide our young boys, can portray themselves as competent and empowered.
You can direct the question on any one of the panelists.
Sure, sir. So I would request a panelist to kindly respond, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, may I?
Yes, sir. Please, definitely.
No, I think it's a very, very genuine question. The COVID batch, it is not the problem of the student. Yes. The COVID has struck everybody, and the poor guy, he has been very passionate about a career at sea, and because the COVID has stuck and he is limited to being behind the screen, and the big change that happens from behind the screen on board the ship, possibly the best way to address it is to have some kind of a soft skills training, some kind of an induction program, which many companies are doing. That before these students who go from the comfort of their house, where the parents are looking after their tea, coffee, beta ye bhi le le, beta wo bhi le le. From there they land up on the ship where the very chief officer usko dafrata hai udhar. So he has to go through a proper 2 days of induction program so that this transition is very, very smooth. I think this is the best which we can really do.
Yes. So we start another course, COVID badge course.
Thank you so much, sir. We had quite a few seniors and colleagues. Captain Rajni Sood sir is waiting, and we
have one lady
also in line. Could we have ladies go ahead first to allow gender equality?
Yes.
Ms. Babita, if you can.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, I'm very much thankful to Maritime Trainers Guild that it gave me the opportunity to be a part of this discussion. So I was able to really have so much valuable things, because presently I'm working with Andromeda Shipping in the training department. So yes, I am handling the in-house courses. Yes, I am a part of the interviews which we are taking for the fresher cadets, and also who are already there, seafarers working. So as the last question was regarding the industry perspective, so I really want to say something about it, because the cadets and trainees are here because I think they are the basic ones, like they are the first step, I can say. Those they have not seen the vessel yet, and that's why they are so much concerned about that whether companies will take them or not, and all those doubts. And before that, coming to that question for the gender equality, as you were saying, that chance was given to me. No, no, no. I really believe in that equality thing, because if my number is 5, it has to be 5 only. It doesn't mean if I'm a woman, or because being on ship also, I'm an ex-deck officer. So being on ship also, I have experienced that. And I really respect that, because if my number is 5, it should be 5 only. It doesn't matter whoever is standing in front of me. So coming to the question, because when we are involved in taking the interviews for the freshers, what I want to say is basic thing is still same, because there were good students and bad students in physical classrooms. And still in virtual classrooms, we have got good students and bad students. And that was on the basis of the thing, the knowledge they were having, how smart are they, how creative are they, and the initiative they are taking on their individual level. So as one cadet was asking about the disturbance at home, I think you are the only one who can control that, because why don't you are talking about the homemade food, you are having it in the interval time then? Don't you think that is a positive thing? As Mr. Suresh has said that tea, coffee, mother's hug, father hug. So just focus on the positive things and the resources which is available. And I think all the cadets and trainees who are okay, because yes, not every time you can't take things granted. There will always be a change. So we need to make use of all the available resources to our best. So it depends upon the individual thing. So even if I talk about the physical classroom, the individual student interest is important. How much he's taking interest in the course, how much he's attentive to the teacher. Fine. There were bad students. It is not there were not bad students. Still, the person can be distracted even in the physical classroom. If he's if he's distracted in the virtual classroom, I still get best students in the virtual classrooms. So it depends upon the individual thing. So same thing, virtual. And when one cadet was asking about the communication, how that can be minimized between the instructor and the student. Yes, when sir has openly said that phone number are always there, so you can anytime call. In physical classroom, I don't think I have got any teacher's phone number till now. So what else they want now? They can anytime call and ask up their doubts, right? So I think all the new decades and the engineers, the trainees who are doing the pre-C courses, I really want to tell them they should keep maintain their initiative and the creativity what they have. They should make best use of the resources they have. Just focus on the positive thing. I think then it will be much better to focus, because I don't think in the recent interviews which I have been involved with, because it has been 2 years, and yes, we are getting cadets who have not done the practical courses and all, but still I think one basic line: if a person is if a person who is giving interview, if he is well enough in his knowledge and if he is smart enough, what we assess in interview. So I don't think nothing can stop it, right? This COVID situation and anything. So if anyone wants to give excuse, then okay, excuses are always there. I just want to tell that to the cadets and TMEs here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving me this chance.
Thank you, Babita. Just a small comment on good student and bad student.
Okay.
Well, all the students are children.
Yes.
Children of some parent. And no parent thinks his child is bad child. Similarly, we also have that perspective that there is no good student or bad student. All are students, and it is our duty as trainers and teachers to have a uniform look at all our children and help those weak children to come up to the standard required. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
So before I go to Captain Sood sir, who's been waiting a while, just to clarify, because this gives us an opportunity, Ms. Bhavita, this is a classic example of where the limitations of online platform was highlighted. We are here on a 14-inch screen. We have the keynote speaker taking up the majority of the 14-inch screen. We're keeping an eye on the chat box, and then there's the gallery view with audience of 120, hands being raised, do not have pinpoint accuracy. So it was a very close tie between Captain Sood and your raised hand. And that's why out of chivalry, which is very prevalent in our industry, you got the benefit of doubt. You were not given any advantage. You were just given the benefit of doubt. So,
yes, I respect that, sir. But still, I really want to clear up that.
Cleared up from our end as well, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Captain
much.
Sood, sir, please.
Yes, good evening. It was an extremely learning experience attending this discussion. I will not go against online teaching method or offline teaching method and vice versa. I just wanted to share my little bit of experience of teaching in last 27 years, 25 years offline teaching and 2 years online teaching. Prabhat knows it. I was against online teaching 2 years back. Now I have logged in, as they say, in commercial aircraft flying more than 2,500 hours of online teaching. Now, my focus is that how a teacher can make sure that students are attentive in his class. Connectivity has improved tenfold in last 2 years. If I have 40 students, I make sure that their cameras are on. 1 or 2 students always have a bit of problem with connectivity. Then make the class as interactive as possible. Online teaching can never be a one-way traffic, can never be one-way traffic. It's up to a teacher to keep the students awake. Of course, there is a bit of disturbance in the house or wherever they are operating from. But if a teacher keeps the class attentive with lot of interactions, by teacher calling the students by their names at random, by bit of humor here and there, I think all the students will remain awake.
Yes,
I would say a lot depends on the teacher, sir. A lot depends on the teacher, and we have some excellent teachers. It doesn't matter whether he's going to speak good English or not. We have seen that. As long as there is willingness to make things easier for students to understand, he will understand it anywhere. I teach celestial navigation, I teach terrestrial navigation, chart work, gyro, ship stability, another subject, damage stability. First 1 year had been little bit hard, but no, sir, not anymore. So not that I'm the best. The idea is to keep the students engaged in a very, very interactive way. That's what I wanted to say, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Viraf, let us wrap up. I think there are one hand more, because Anirban had
Yes,
already
sir.
asked.
Captain Amarveer Singh has been waiting a long time. Yeah. Apologies, Captain Sab. If you could please unmute yourself and put in your views.
Very, very good evening, all Gurujans and the members online. Myself, Captain Amarveer Saran, HOD BSc Nautical Science, Chitkara University. All I wanted to say, it's not rather a question, but just an observation that online classes, we may be successful in making our mentees a good student academically, and he may be good in studies. But one important aspect which we are missing online is that we cannot look after his fitness. As they say on the ship, it is the survival of the fittest. And as mentors, we should ensure that our mentees should be physically fit. They should be, not a liability on a ship, but an asset. And that can only happen when they are in campus and doing extracurricular activities, sports. And that's how they will probably have their fitness, which will help them on ship go a long way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Captain Arun. Captain Amar. I would request everyone to switch on their cameras, and those who have raised hands, put the hands down. And Kirtan, can you take pictures, please, quickly? Everybody switch on your cameras.
Oh.
Captain Sood, you have raised both hands now.
Okay, one down. And the other also, sir, I'll do it.
Okay. Kirtan, whenever you are done, please let us know.
Yes, sir.
Just few seconds more, sir. Just a few.
Sure.
Done, sir.
Cadets, you people also can switch on your cameras.
Yes, done, sir. Done.
Thank you. Although we have gone 1 hour above, but to tell you very truthfully, I had kept this as a buffer. I knew that it will become so interesting that we'll go overboard. So now, for the vote of thanks, should I call upon Secretary General again? Captain Kamal, where are you? Yes, you are there. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, President. Yes, I did notice the overrun, and I would like to apologize to everyone for it. But the passion with which the discussions went on, I think that it has kept us all glued. And I'm sure there's lots of takeaway for all of us from these wonderful discussions here. And so I'll run through my vote of thanks very quickly. So all of you are then free to go grab your dinner. I'm sure it's your spouses are waiting out there. Sorry. James Allen, British author and thinker, once said, "No duty is more urgent and no duty is complete without giving thanks." So on behalf of the entire Maritime Trainers Guild, the President, Captain Prabhat Nigam, and the MTG Event Organizing Committee, I have the privilege and pleasure to deliver this vote of gratitude. My sincere thanks to our keynote speakers who have provided excellent guidance on and insights on the subject matter. Now, thank you, Captain Mahapatra, and thank you, Dr. Saxena. Captain Mahapatra had to leave a little earlier, so he is not with us, but I will call him up and thank him personally. The panelists have, I'm sure, spent a lot of time and sweat to put their brilliant thoughts and experiences together, often burning the midnight oil in the process because they have other things to do besides preparing for this event. And they have even stolen time from their precious families. Our gracious thanks to you all. Special thanks to Captain Prabhat Nigam, the President, for so vividly conducting the panel discussion. It was quite exciting to hear the state of online training and assessment, going beyond the obvious and bringing out situations and suggestions for improvement. Our gracious thanks to all the supporters of this event. The organizing members have been working for over a month to put this event together. The list of names is long, so I'll skip that, but I will say a simple yet sincere thank you. Our gratefulness to the media for providing pre and post-event publicity. A significant word of appreciation for the young Mr. Kirtan Vakil. I always call him young. I don't think he's growing at all. Okay, Kirtan and the HIMT team for providing the Zoom platform and doing all the good work behind the backdrop. Team Marix has taken care of the publicity, design, and artwork. A very important word of thanks to them as well. Dr. Gulshan Dillon has kept all the event gears in motion right through. much appreciation from us all for your hard work. I hope I have not missed anyone. My apologies if I have. Thank you all and have a pleasant evening.
And happy birthday to Dr. Gulshan Dhillon. Today is her birthday.
Oh, excellent.
Happy
Excellent.
birthday.
Many happy returns, Dr. Dhillon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
One
Thank
question for Captain Kamal. Captain
Yes.
Kamal, sir, one question for you.
Yes, sir.
When are you leaving for Hollywood?
As soon as Captain Mahapatra sends me a contract.
MTG wants you here.
Sorry?
MTG wants you here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be with MTG. Thank you so much, sir. Everybody have a great evening.
Bye-bye. Good night. Good night. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for joining in. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye.